So the first thing you want to do is you want to position the board underneath this cutting board, this self-healing cutting board that we have on the table. And those of you that are starting off with a large enough board, you're going to have to work fairly carefully. I'm actually going to start on a corner here of this board. I'm going to cut this section here. And it's damaged, but you're going to actually cut the board twice. You're going to cut a 24 by 24 size board, and then you're going to cut it down smaller to the smaller size. Now, I mentioned to you that I have two different types of rulers here and a T-square. The T-square I'm going to use for cutting. The rulers I'm going to use for measuring. So I'm going to use this ruler, and it's important that you understand not to use the rulers for cutting. And the reason why is that these rulers are aluminum. And with an X-Acto knife, you can cut into the aluminum, thus not allowing you to get a straight edge. The T-square is a stainless steel square, T-square, and you can't cut into it, so you're going to get a clean cut with that. So what I'm going to do is and you never want to mark your board with a pen or a pencil and make pencil lines. What you want to do is use your X-Acto knife. So I'm going to position my ruler right at the edge of the board, and I'm going to make a X-Acto knife prick right at 24 inches. And I'm going to move it again, and I'm going to make another hole, keep it straight, and 24 inches here. And then what I'm going to do is, using my T-square, I'm going to match up my first hole that I made with the edge of my second hole that I made. And of course now I can't find it, so I've got to make another 24, poke it, and here it is, okay? And then to this edge here. Now, several things I want to point out. I want you to notice the position of my left hand on my T-square, and notice the white knuckles that are happening. That means I've got substantial pressure on this. The next thing I want you to know is that with Gator board, you never dig deep and cut and make one cut. What you do is just make a light score and let your knife cut into the board. And you'll notice that I'm not exerting much pressure at all on my hand, on the weight of my hand into the board. Because if I do, I am going to bruise the board, and eventually you will begin to feel the bottom surface of the table or of the healing mat. Okay? And I want to do it until I could feel it, and then I'm going to do an upper portion and run it through. And again, you guide your knife into the board. Oops, and I went off crooked on this, that's okay. Until you can feel the side, or sorry, you can feel the table. And again, I'm going to move over to the opposite side of this, measure 24 inches, make a knife poke on the board with it, make sure that the X-Acto knife is, make sure you're working with a sharp blade, because if your knife is scraping the board, it is going to affect your cut. And so I'm going to line up my first cut on that side with my new hole that I made here, and I'm going to work on the opposite side and just score the board and let the blade work its way into the board.